What is up, guys? Yesterday we looked at the best champions with the new Trinity Force, and you said you wanted one for Wit's End, so we're going to do that today. The item has been around for a while, but it's just barely ever used, and honestly, like, how many times do you open up the shop and think, you know what I need a Wit's End? But now with it being so cheap, I think on certain champions, it is really strong. Now remember to like this video if you did, dislike it if you didn't, and let me know if there are any others you can think of that I left out. So if you weren't sure, this patch, Wit's End's cost is down to 2,500 gold, and it has a much better component build path with the Negatron cloak now. General stat wise, it's 40 magic resist, 40% attack speed, 40 on hit damage, and basic attack still 5 magic resist from your target, stacking up to 25 gain and a 25 loss for them. Now if we're going to buy this, we are mainly looking to use the attack speed and the on hit damage. The magic resist is awesome, but it's mostly just kind of a bonus. We're going to start this with the big one, probably the reason honestly this item actually gets nerfed eventually. Kog'Maw is absolutely ridiculous with Wit's End. You know how he turns into like turret mode with his W, right, where he sits there and just shoots insanely fast? Well, while all of those autos are doing reduced damage, on hit damage is applied fully. So we're going to be doing the extra 40 damage per hit anyway, but that's not even the kicker though. His bonus damage, the flat plus percentage of their max health, is actually magic damage. So the fact that you steal 25 of their magic resist with Wit's End means you're actually making your W do even more damage. You know what, actually that's not even the best bit either. Rage Blade is pretty core on him, and we're going to be applying the on hit damage twice every 2 autos. So we do 40 extra on the first hit just like normal, then 80 on the second hit. Tell me that is not broken. 120 bonus on hit damage every 2 auto attacks. Just general stat wise, attack speed is obviously great because it works with that W, we attack more, and then as we said, the on hit is just insane. Applying that 40 bonus damage to each auto while we have it active and we're attacking that fast. By the way, Runaan's is 15 on hits. That is almost 3 times as much. I don't think I've ever said this in a video before, but we actually run the risk of hitting our attack speed cap with this stuff once we get to super late game if we add any more in, but honestly I think the on hit damage is just too good to pass up. Rage Blade is the same for any champion that buys it, by the way. If you're building a Rage Blade, then you'll be doing so much damage with this on hit, and it's worth at least trying to work this into your build if you can. The next one is going to be Kindred, another one who relies heavily on attack speed, but this is a little bit different to Cog. One of the reasons we can get away with this is because we don't have to build as much defense, which is awesome. We have our ultimate, and often it's a case of like, let's ult and nuke someone down while it's active. I actually want to use Kindred to talk about Runaan's too though. Just like Rage Blade, this is something that can do a lot of work with Wit's End. The 3 bolts from Runaan's all apply on hit effects fully, so you'll be attacking more, but you'll also be applying the 40 extra damage to each person hit. In theory, by just adding a Wit's End after Runaan's, you're going to be adding 120 extra damage spread across those 3 targets per attack. Plus remember, we'll be attacking us so fast with 130% bonus attack speed from Bloodrazor, Runaan's, and Wit's End together. It's actually insane if you think about it. This 3 item combo is going to give Kindred 130 bonus attack speed, the 4% max health damage from Bloodrazor, 15 on hit from Runaan's, 40 from Wit's End, plus a normal auto AD damage. Per person, that's still 55 on hit, 4% max health plus auto, and with how fast we attack, it's actually going to be insane. Now, that's going to add up to a lot of damage. Normally when I talk about champions and stuff, I don't go that specifically into the build or that one item, but this applies to a bunch of champions, so I just wanted to go over it once and not have to do it again. Now Wit's End isn't just amazing on anyone who builds Runaan's though, so Caitlyn, Jinx, Ashe, etc., like anyone who builds like that, they need crit. Kindred and Kog'Maw don't, so that's why it works. It is not really worth getting a Wit's End on Caitlyn, for example, because we would have to replace a rapid fire cannon from the attack speed, which we need the crit from. Okay, so those are the 2 ones who will probably be the strongest, plus we've gone over Rage Blade and Runaan's now, and why it's so dumb with them as well. Now we're going to have 6 more picks that are a little less obvious, and Warwick is going to be the first one. Something a lot of people might not know is his ultimate applies on hit effects when he's swiping at you. Now even though his animation makes it look like he's attacking and going completely nuts, he's actually only applying damage 5 times during it. The thing is, with each of those 5 times, it does the base damage plus the on hit you have. So with a Wit's End, we're increasing his ultimate damage by 200 damage, and that 200 damage is in 1.8 seconds. That's pretty disgusting. It's actually even better than that, kind of. So our ult is magic damage. The 25 magic resist we steal, according to the wiki, is also on hit and will increase our base ult damage. The problem is that it won't be fully stacked stacked until after the ultimate is over. It does a little more each tick, I guess, but the main thing is that after our ult is finished, we have stolen the full 25 magic resist, plus we do more to them as we chase them down. Now, apart from his ult, we have the Blood Razor for attack speed, as well as our W active, which goes up to 80% bonus, by the way. Basically, we'll be attacking really fast, applying the 40 on hit a ton, and we have a cool way to get it to full stacks instantly. Anyway, the next one is Shen. We actually don't see him as often right now, but like, I guess he is a ninja, so he's supposed to stay hidden in the shadows. I'm sorry, that one was really bad, but okay. So Shen used to be a really good split pusher, right? With his rework kit, that kind of killed that a little bit, and he doesn't do it as well anymore. Attack speed is the best stat for him to increase damage, really, plus it's actually going to take him a while to kill anyone, so the 40 on hit damage adds up to a lot over time. The problem right now with Shen is that everyone is building him full tank, and he has literally no threat when you do that. You're basically making him useless, and we can just ignore him as an AD carry. Wit's End gives him the damage he needs to take towers and split push, to duel people easier, and also have some damage in a team fight as well. Kind of like everything rolled into one. By the way, actually, Triforce would also do this job really well, but the difference is Wit's End is only 2,500 gold, Triforce is over 1,200 more than that, and ideally we want some cheap, easy damage and then back to getting tanky. It's weird because in theory, Shen should actually be good in this meta, immobile carries to protect, decent matchups, and cross-map pressure to snowball a game earlier, or at least prevent it being snowballed against you. I think that Shen with a Triforce or a Wit's End will give him back his threat and punishing power, and we could actually see him come back again with these items. Kayle we talked about in my Triforce video, but she's just way too good with Wit's End to not mention her. Attack speed is like the key stat that she wants, right? Also, we're stacking attack speed with other items, so the on-hit damage is going to add up to a ton. She already does magic damage, so the magic resist still is perfect, and actually, like, having some magic resist is nice because we can't really afford to build any. It's kind of just the perfect item on her at the moment. It's cheap, so we can work it into her existing standard build without delaying anything too much either. I know I do keep mentioning cost a lot, maybe a bit too much, but it's a big reason why it's so underrated. Low cost means that it doesn't disrupt much from like a normal build, and it can just slot into a build to give a quick power spike. Kalista is another AD carry who will work amazingly well with this, but unfortunately we don't see her as much since that really weird nerf. I know this is a bit random, bit of a tangent, but I just hate how they nerfed her. Like, needing your support to be near you is not a viable strategy or mechanic to use in solo queue, really. Anyway, it's a similar situation to Kog'Maw. Building heavy attack speed already, we have a Runins as well for the AoE on hit damage, and it just synergizes really well with her kit and what she wants to do. Kalista takes time to kill someone with a lot of autos. That means a lot of on hit damage firstly, but also faster Ren stacking as well with the Wit's End. It kind of just adds to her method of killing someone. It doesn't have to do anything different, it just makes it better. In my opinion, this is a really good item when you're behind on Kalista. You need some quick damage to be effective in the game. It gives you that, and even if you're a little starved on gold, it's not too hard to finish. When you're ahead, I think it might be better to skip this for a bigger item like Infinity Edge or Bloodthirster, but if you want to snowball and try to end quicker, then Wit's End is a really cheap spike. Now, we did talk about Bruiser Fizz in my last Triforce video, but Wit's End is also a really good option without messing up your build at the moment. The problem with Triforce is that you have to skip Iceborne Gauntlet. Now, Iceborne lets you stick to your opponent and makes it really hard to escape. You aren't burst here, you're sustained damage with autos. Wit's End is a really good way to kind of get the best of both. You get some cheap damage to add to Iceborne without having to replace it. Triforce is about 3,700 gold-ish. Wit's End and Iceborne is 5,200, so it's 1,500 more gold, but you get 2 items and arguably a bit more damage. Bruiser Fizz maxes W. Your W is magic damage both on the passive damage and the active damage. Wit's End magic resist reduction is going to increase that, plus, well, increase everything else actually. It isn't huge, but as well, your ultimate increases magic damage by 20% on the target, and Wit's End on hit damage is magic damage, so it's actually going to do even more. Basically, together, when we get these 2 items, we get the slow, we get the sheen, armor, plus the attack speed, on hit damage, magic resist, and magic resist reduction, which are all perfect for him. Now, the last one is Irelia. I left her until last because even though she is really good with this item, I've talked a lot about her in different videos. Irelia kind of needs 2 damage items, and then she goes into full tank. Now, Blade the Ruined King isn't that good anymore. Ironically, it's actually nerfed because AD carries were using it too well. The thing is, before we didn't really have much of a choice, I guess, but now we have the Wit's End. We get the attack speed from both, which means more on hit damage for starters, but also more W damage, where most of her damage comes from. Magic resist is actually kind of nice. It will help her stay alive. Something we haven't mentioned too much, but the magic resist is a nice addition to help if you're going to be diving into fights as a bruiser. Honestly, it gives her a lot of damage, and all the damage you'll need in a game. You can go full tank afterwards, and you're not going to have to worry about killing anyone because you'll have the damage to do it. It's a lot cheaper than Blade, which means we can get our defense earlier into the game, means we get a bigger chance of staying alive in team fights, and we actually also snowball harder. harder. Another thing that we've only slightly mentioned, but because it's so cheap and loaded with stats, it gives us a quick early spike in power, which is hard to match and keep up with. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. But for now, let's go to the robots.